Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hello, welcome to KillCo. I'm Mr. K. Today is day 11 of the Whiskey Tribe Advent Calendar slash KillCo Advent Calendar mishmash that I'm currently doing. I actually went out and got this bottle because I wanted to know. It was a little more expensive than I wanted it to be, but that's life, and I hope to make this bottle last a long time. If you don't know what it is, you're. Why did you click on this? It's right there at the beginning. There's a picture. Why did you Maker's Mark, Cask Strength. This is actually one I haven't tried at all, ever, because it's the Cask Strength version, and I'm so used to your typical Maker's Mark or maybe the Maker's Mark Select. That's the one I've had a couple times. That's always different depending on where you get it. They use different staves. They did different things. That's the shtick. It's usually higher proof. Pretty damn good usually. This one is at 110.9 proof. Why they didn't just go to 111, I don't know. 55.45% alcohol percentage. This is interesting. Meet the makers. It's got all these little things on the side. I don't know what this means. BM, KG, JL, TW, LR, and CD. I'm assuming that's the initials of the people who are involved in making this cask selection. I'm assuming. And it is batch number 1802. Actually, sorry, 18-02. Whatever that means. Distilled, aged, and bottled by the Maker's Mark Distillery Incorporated, Star Hill Farm, Loretto, Kentucky, USA. Fun. I'm going to edit now because I didn't bother to open this properly. Because I wanted to make sure y'all knew it's unopened. I've never had it. This will take a minute, so. I wasn't actually as bad as I thought, and there's still no guarantee this will pop off quite like I want it to, but here we go. Oh, huh. Nice. Oh, false cork, or a fake cork, or whatever that's actually supposed to be called. It's bourbon night glass because it's bourbon. I'm pouring quite a bit because I want a bit. Oh, geez. Drink more bourbon, by the way. Drink more whiskey. Honestly, that's if I ever do make a Glencairn, it's going to be very similar to that concept of drink more whiskey, or try all the things, or try all the whiskey. Or give me your whiskey. Haven't decided yet. Decisions. Not something I feel I'm going to need to worry about. Just a thought. I get the feeling this is going to be straight up bourbon as usual. And I did look at the whiskey app already, and I'm going to try to do something a little different with this. Hopefully I'll do it properly. If not, well, it is probably really late. Yeah, it's late. Oh, ooh. Definitely the brown sugar, typical bourbon nose, but I did watch Daniel's review today, so I'm kind of slightly influenced by his thoughts. Not a bad thing. I actually used to do that all the time. In my previous Advent videos, I would watch his video to get an idea of what I was in for. Or sometimes I wouldn't. Honestly, sometimes I'd just try it. I kind of flip-flopped depending on what it was, usually. But he mentioned it smelling very grain heavy, um, like a grain alcohol. He's not wrong. There's something else in there, though. I do agree, it smells very alcohol, which I don't usually get from higher proofs, but if that's what I'm interpreting it as, and I'm pretty sure I am, It's the kind of thing that makes your nose go like that, just like, oof, gosh, that's ooh. That's not a bad thing. It's just kind of like the typical reaction to a higher proof grain alcohol sort of thing. If you've ever had a very high proof vodka or something like that, you get that sort of smell because the alcohol is higher. It's not too bad though. I was expecting it to be worse, but it is noticeable. I'll give it that. It does smell sweet though as well. And as usual, I can't decipher if it's a brown sugar, a light brown sugar, or a caramel kind of thing. Not so much caramel. Definitely kind of a sugary sweetness thing. But might as well get down to it. Peppery, spicy. Not too crazy on the wood. And there's the burning sensation I always get. Whew! Oh, I feel better now. That's probably not a good thing. What's funny is for a higher proof, I don't want to call it thin, but it's thinner than I anticipated. I don't know why, but I was expecting a little more grit and grip, and that might just be because of all the peated scotches and that kind of thing we've been having. Those are usually very oil heavy. Bourbons usually are not. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. We'll see. Just had a citrus note. I'm getting weird thought images here. The wood is good, actually. And I like the tingle I'm getting on my tongue. Whether that's a peppery or a spicy or a, whatever. It differs person to person, but for me, it's just that kind of, it's literally a tingle. And it dances across my tongue. And I dig that. And again, I've mentioned in other videos, I like pepper a lot. So anytime I get something that reminds me of the sensation of when you have something with pepper on it, which is that kind of tingly, dancy thing, happens with hot sauces too, I dig it. There isn't a lot to say about it though. And what's funny is it's not as sweet as Maker's Mark that I remember, which is probably due to the higher proof. But I like it. I like it in a way that I would pour this and just kind of relax. This is why I've been getting into bourbons a lot, I think, because it is something that is easy to drink in a way that is something you can just have while doing something else, which is what I feel like a lot of what my alcohol choice sort of thing is. I'm not the type of person to go out to bars and have a shot and have a beer, or even have a margarita. Although I did have one of those earlier today, just because I went to a Mexican restaurant. I don't often go out drinking to get drunk. If you do that, don't. It's not good. In my age, I suppose, I am the type who will have a dram at the end of the night and just sip it quietly while either playing computer games or doing a little editing, whatever I'm doing. So it's something I would definitely have, not absent-mindedly, because it is a higher proof, but it is something that I would consider kind of a little treat, Maybe I'd have a whiskey that I liked that was more of a background whiskey. And then I'd have this one next, and this one I would drink slower. And honestly, I'd probably add ice. I usually do with higher proof bourbons. Again, I've said in videos, I have a weird textured thing, slash temperature, I guess. The texture is I like something that clings a little, but if I add ice, because it's room temperature, that seems a bit. I've gotten used to it now, but for whatever reason, I prefer it either a little chilled, or I like having warm drinks instead of just like room temperature. I don't know what it is, but no, it just bothers me. I don't quite understand it. This isn't that bad though because it's got enough spice and kick to it, where I'm not exactly perturbed by the fact that it is just a neat pour at room temperature. So, one more. Yep, same thing every time. I get weird citrus notes, a little bit of peppery kick, definitely a burn going down still, which I like. And the finish does linger a little bit, but it's not clingy. It's just, there. I like it. The one thing I did do with this is I did actually look up the whiskey app notes, and I realized I'm looking at my phone and that's all you see. I could be looking at Twitter for all you know. And I have shown it to the camera before, but I think I'm going to try and put the notes up somewhere on the screen here if I can. It's going to be a task because it involves taking pictures of the screen and doing all kinds of stuff I don't want to do. So, yeah. There is a slight problem with using this app and the information that it gives, and that is that with this one, it says 56.6% for Maker's cask strength. That could be a whole completely different bottle, but there's no way for me to really know for certain. So it just might be the way things are with this app. It could have been an older bottling, it could have been newer bottling. I don't know. I just know what I have here. The profile is exactly what I said it was before. It says vanilla, caramel, brown sugar. Typical bourbon. And again, these are community notes, or these are just what people thought and what they put in. The official notes are going to be different, I hope, if they exist. Taste profiles, cinnamon, pepper, brown sugar. Agreed. I get a peppery note. Cinnamon, yes, that is something I would not have picked up right away, but I would probably put that in with the spices. Brown sugar, not so much, other than just sweet. One of these times I just have to have the whole thing of brown sugar here. I'm like, let me see. Yes. And the finish, it says cigar boxes. That's random. Pepper, vanilla, and wheat. Maybe that's what it is. It's either wheat or I do get some kind of a little bit of a dryness at the end, I think. Official notes. From the barrel to the bottle at 108 to 114 proof, Maker's Mark cask strength retains the signature front of the palate flavors of Maker's Mark, while amping up the oak, caramel, vanilla, and spice to create a remarkable new bourbon. Exactly what it is. So the official notes on this are correct, but there are no tasting notes for it, unfortunately. Well, that's that. It is late. I have it's not the weekend coming up, but I have shows from here until Sunday. So getting the next few videos out is going to be interesting. However, I do have most of the bottles just on hand, which is great. That's why I wanted to get this one, because one, I wanted to try it. Two, I was also going to be able to follow along with the Whiskey Tribe for the next few days, leading into next week. Once next week happens, things are going to get a little wonky, but I'll worry about that when it happens. So until next time, sláinte. 5 more shows, baby. It's almost over.